Some of our area could see severe storms and flooding rains. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back with you here at Meteo Mundo on this Wednesday afternoon, March the 20th. Hope you're having a great day so far. Coming up in this video, we're going to take a look at current conditions across the Caribbean and the Bahamas, and then focus on an area that I expect to see some very rough weather as we get closer to the weekend, with some strong to severe storms and some flooding rains, all a possibility. So as we get started, thank you so much for liking the video. If you're not a subscriber yet, click that subscribe button right now. You want these daily forecasts. We'll get you started on this Wednesday afternoon, a live look at our visible satellite imagery and current temperatures on the board. Overall, it has been a very nice day across the Caribbean and the Bahamas. Obviously, it's been very warm and humid through most of our area, as temperatures across the Leeward Islands, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and portions of the Dominican Republic easily in the upper 80s, a couple of spots hitting 90 degrees. Kingston got up to right around 90 as well, but they've actually dropped down a little bit as they're trying to get a couple of showers developing in Jamaica. It's been very hot through portions of the Yucatan and Central America. One of the only areas that's really enjoying a very comfortable day are portions of the Bahamas. Freeport in at 72 and Nassau in at just 75. Taking a look at the winds, I don't see a lot of wind right now. This has been a relatively, again, nice forecast for us here. We still have our easterlies, but again, there's some big and significant changes coming for some of our area as we get closer to the weekend. So I still want to take a look. I'm going to take off the winds right now and just look at this visible satellite imagery, because this kind of can tell the story here. I just want you to see that on this visible satellite imagery, we have some clouds developing on the southern coastline of Jamaica. The opportunity for some showers with the heat of the day. That's why Kingston's temperature went from 90 to the lower 80s, because they've had some clouds and at least some isolated showers through portions of the island. I would expect the best chance for rain to be for places like Kingston and Portmore and Spanish Town, back down towards the Old Harbor area there, maybe Maypen and Mandeville, but maybe just south of there. You can see again, it gets a little bit blurry when we get this close in, but you can see when I zoom out a little bit more that we've at least had some thicker clouds develop across the southern side of the island. Same opportunity for portions of Cuba and the Cayman Islands. I've seen some clouds develop through portions of the Dominican Republic and Haiti as well. Generally still dry there. We'll talk about the rain chances across Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, because it's going to be very time dependent. And we're going to be looking at some nighttime rain for these areas over the next couple of days. And then I do expect some very high and dry weather for my friends in the Leeward Islands. And we'll have the rest of the forecast coming up in just a second. But I want to highlight those areas that could be seeing a couple of showers here as we progress Wednesday afternoon and into Wednesday night. The first forecast element I want to talk about are going to be our winds. So let's take a look at the winds here, and then we're going to talk about a very strong storm system coming in. So the first thing we're going to see are our winds. Now, again, for my friends from Anguilla all the way down towards Trinidad and Tobago, including Barbados and St. Lucia and Antigua and Barbuda, we're going to stay with our easterly winds. At this point in time, I have seen no high surf advisories or any swell issues for the area. So relatively quiet forecast the next few days. An isolated shower is possible with our easterlies, but generally speaking, we're going to be high and dry. I know a lot of you could use some rain, but it's just not on the board. The ABC Islands will continue with a fresh wind from time to time in the afternoon hours, could be gusting over 25 knots. Some areas, over around 30 miles an hour as we go through the day. Now, the easterlies will continue through the rest of the Caribbean. Notice how they'll swing a little bit more out of the south and then eventually out of the north. This is going to bring some changes about for places like Belize City and Cancun and the Cayman Islands and Jamaica, but certainly bring even stronger impacts to all of the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos, and some side effects, if you will, to portions of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. What we have coming, guys, is an absolutely massive cold front moving in Friday, Saturday, Sunday into the Bahamas and the Turks and the Caicos. Again, just looking at the winds first, and we'll get into all the elements that I see, but you can notice the winds picking up out of the south to begin with, and they're going to be somewhere around 30 knots, and then they're going to swing out of the northwest. And again, the timing of this, we'll get much more into this, but coming in over the weekend here and into early next week. But just to show you that as we get into, your Sunday, that some of this north wind will be getting down into the Turks and Caicos and eventually into the northern sides of Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, and portions of the northern Leeward Islands as well. Looking at the wind gusts here over the next 5 days on this product, again, we still have our enhanced winds down in the ABC Islands. Relatively speaking, the winds out of the east will be less than 15 to 20 knots through the majority of our area until we see what's happening up here in the Bahamas. And again, we're going to roll off a big storm system here. We're going to have some strong winds. We're going to have the opportunity for some strong to severe storms as well. And again, you can see that moving in Saturday and into Sunday. The real nasty winds are going to be up the United States East Coast, but we are going to have some potential gale force gusts in portions of the Bahamas over the weekend as well. So let's take a look at our rain. And again, I'm going to really focus in on the Bahamas coming up in just a minute, but we'll let this loop over the next 5 days, and you can certainly see what has gotten my attention and should get your attention if you live in this area as well. And again, focusing on that coming up. But I do want to start off east and then we'll work our way in. As I mentioned for the Lesser Antilles, it's a nice forecast through the weekend. An isolated shower is possible. I don't see anything concentrated. Again, it's been relatively dry. There's no swell issues at this point in time for Grenada and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Barbados, way too close, Rusty, Dominica and Guadeloupe, and Montserrat, and Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Bartholomew, Saba, St. Eustatius. Everything's looking fine. Everything's looking just fine. Get outside and enjoy the next 5 days. Now, for my friends in the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, tonight, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, opportunity for isolated showers, mainly during the evening and the overnight hours. Basically, when it's dark, we could pop up a couple of showers. The daylight hours will mainly be dry, but just kind of stopping this here. Let me step it back. Again, you're not going to see much on the models here, but a few isolated spotty showers kind of trying to get going. I would still favor the overnight hours. I can't rule out a shower in the afternoon across Puerto Rico, but just kind of looking at how things have played out here lately, I think it's the isolated chance overnight. Now, you're looking at 30% chance at best, but that does include Road Town and Tortola and St. Thomas and St. John there on over towards Charlotte Amalie and the Cruz Bay areas, and my friends down in St. Croix and Christiansted, all with the opportunity for some isolated rain during the evening hours and overnight the next few days. Should dry up a little bit over the weekend. Now, one area that's going to have a little bit better chance for showers overall is going to be in the Dominican Republic side of Hispaniola. We're going to get some rain kind of trying to flare up tomorrow afternoon. Decent chance for showers from Santo Domingo up towards Puerto Plata, including Santiago de los Caballeros. Look, outside of the rain, we're going to see some temperatures here that'll easily be topping off in the lower 90s in most spots. And as Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands dry out, you do too as well. But there's a little bit of rain still trying to flare up, maybe even an isolated storm there on our Sunday afternoon. But just a little bit more moisture to play with the further north and west that you go. And then we're going to get into the Turks and Caicos forecast coming up. Let's go back to Jamaica. Guys, I just still don't see anything concentrated here in Jamaica over the next 5 days. Now, again, we're going to see a wind shift later in the week, which might bring our temperatures down a bit. But if you live in the Kingston area, you should expect the next couple of days, daytime highs to be at or above 90 degrees Fahrenheit, 31, maybe 32 degrees Celsius, just area dependent. That does include Mandeville and Maypen, slightly cooler Savannah, Lamar, Negril, Montego Bay, Ocho Rios, Port Antonio, but central and southeast sections of the island will more than likely be topping, again, that 31, 32 degrees Celsius mark each and every afternoon. Maybe a bit of reprieve, a little bit cooler weather Saturday and Sunday, but I'm talking about shaving a degree or two off in most spots. And again, isolated rain there, but nothing that's going to be concentrated. On over towards Central America right now, it has been high and dry in areas of Belize. I think we're going to catch an isolated shower chance mainly in the morning hours here, Friday and Saturday. But you can see over the next 5 days, there's a very limited rain chance. Now, it's very hot inland And it's going to get even hotter in a couple of spots like San Ignacio through the Orange Walk area. Belize City, San Pedro is going to be a little bit cooler. And again, where do we see a spotty rain chance? Not much of one, guys. Again, this is rolling over the next 5 days. I put in a low end chance for rain along the coastline. I think inland Belize stays dry. So when you look at that forecast, again, it's a beautiful afternoon today. Highs in the upper 80s along the coast, 89 in Belize City for tomorrow. 20% chance for an isolated shower both Friday and Saturday. It's going to be hotter in Belize City, 91 degrees, but inland areas of Belize will be topping the upper 90s to at or above 100 both Friday and Saturday afternoons. Then you get those north winds coming in to bring in slightly cooler weather, mostly sunny skies on Sunday, 86. It would not surprise me if you stay dry over the next 5 days. Just an isolated shower in the forecast for both Saturday and Sunday. Okay, let's work our way to what's going to be happening now in the Bahamas. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this because this is an area of concern. So what we have, guys, is a very powerful cold front with a lot of energy with it coming into our area beginning late Friday through Saturday. Again, just letting this roll through, and it will be working its way all the way down to the Turks and the Caicos. Now, with this line of showers and storms, we have all modes of severe weather possible. We have the opportunity for strong to severe thunderstorms. We have the opportunity for water spouts and tornadoes. We have the opportunity for heavy enough localized rain for some localized flooding, some localized street flooding, some inundation of some low-lying areas. All of that comes with the storm system, and obviously it's going to kick up the marine conditions as well. So the first thing I want to note here is I can actually go over here and pull on the National Weather Service. We call these convective outlooks. So if I go out to day 3, I just want you to notice, now again, this is not for the Bahamas, but I want you to notice that South Florida is under what we call a marginal risk of severe storms. It's easy to translate that if South Florida is under a marginal risk for severe storms on Friday, then the Northwest Bahamas would also come into play with that as the storms move off the east coast of Florida and move in. So again, widespread severe weather is possible throughout the United States Southeast on Friday. That'll then be moving into the Northwest Bahamas late Friday night and into Saturday. So just want to kind of show you one of those things I can show you. Again, this is a very sophisticated computer system. It has all kinds of parameters here. All right, let's go back over to the model, and we're going to stair step this in here. So I'm going to let it run one more time, and then I'm going to pause it. And by the way, if you haven't given me a like on the video yet, you know I'd appreciate that as we get into this forecast. So here's how this is going to play out. First of all, the rest of today and Thursday in places like Freeport and Nassau, absolutely gorgeous. You got any plans outdoors, boating through Friday morning, we're fine. We're going to start to see the first indications of showers and storms begin to work their way in, again, mainly late on Friday. Ahead of the main cluster, we could get an isolated shower or storm non-severe on Friday afternoon. But look how covered up South Florida is on Friday afternoon. Then here comes this line along the leading edge of this. More than likely, there'll be some rotation. Waterspout, tornado threat is a possibility throughout the entire Northwest and Central Bahamas. Then we just see a prolonged period of heavy rain and storms. You can see as we get into our Saturday afternoon, we are still completely covered up for Walker's Key and Grand Bahama and Abaco and Eleuthera and New Providence and Andros. Everyone getting heavy rain, finally beginning to clear out through the day on Sunday. We then carry this down, and you can see into the Central Bahamas when you get south of New Providence into places like Arthurstown and Georgetown. They get covered up later Saturday and into Sunday, and then those storms will move into the Turks and Caicos as we go through Sunday. Now, the model does try to move it north and east of the Turks and Caicos. I don't want to completely say that places like Matthewtown are completely out of the woods for some heavier rain and storms. Going to include you in that right now, especially on Sunday, but it's something I'll be monitoring. Again, the model tries to take the bulk of the heaviest storms and move it just east of you. But again, we have got some really nasty weather coming through this area here, beginning late Friday and then into Saturday and then through portions of the southern Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos on Sunday as well. So let's first of all talk about let's see, how do I want to do this? Let's talk about the warnings first, or not the warnings, but the high impact possibilities. And then we'll take a look at the total rain that I think we could see. So for the Bahamas and the Turks and the Caicos, here's how this breaks down. Strong to severe storms Friday through Sunday. A waterspout, tornado threat will come along with these storms. Rainfall totals right now are going to be averaging somewhere around 4 to 6 inches, but there could be locally up to 8 inches of rain in some spots. That obviously is going to lead to the potential for some localized flooding, especially street flooding in some low-lying areas. Winds will be 20 to 30 knots. And then out of the northwest behind the storms coming in later on Saturday, there will be some gale force gusts from time to time. Small craft should stay in port beginning late Friday and then through the weekend in most areas. Might get a little bit better late on Sunday, but certainly late Friday and all day Saturday, small craft are going to want to remain in port. Small craft advisors will be coming up for these areas as well. So looking at the Grand Bahama 5-day forecast, again, beautiful today and tomorrow. We'll see the late day storms on Friday. So again, red caution for the severe storms possible. Certainly to go along with this, the excessive rainfall potential as well. So very stormy weather on Saturday and then very windy conditions as the showers and storms wrap up on Sunday. Temperatures that will remain in the upper 70s. By the way, what a cool afternoon today. That'll only be in the lower 70s. So now let's take a look at the potential for the heavy rain. So putting this on, and I'm going to go out and make sure we go out all the way. I do have it here. Let me go out one more day. Just 1 second here. We're going to go out until Sunday night, just to make sure I cover kind of the entire time frame. So this is the first look at the potential for the heavier rain in portions of the Bahamas. And again, this is going to be cumulative rainfall totals. Now, this is just one model, okay? But you can see that as we get down towards New Providence and Eleuthera and the northern tip right now of Andros, we're looking at 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 inches of rain. And that absolutely goes along with what the Bahamas Meteorological Department is talking about. They have issued a statement for 4 to 6 inches of rain, locally up to 8 inches. And that's what I'm seeing on my models as well. Now look, we could easily shift this heavier rain slightly farther north to include Grand Bahama and Abaco and Walker's Key. There is no way right now that I'm going to say that Freeport gets 2 inches of rain and Nassau gets 8. It could set up that way, but certainly this heavier rain could be slightly farther to the north. This is just a good first look at the amount of rain that we could get starting late Friday and then into Sunday. And you can see that some of this heavier rain tails into the central Bahamas before, again, the model begins to cut off some of the heavier rain before we get down into the Turks and the Caicos. But you get the idea that there is going to be a swath of some significant rain potentially coming into portions of the Bahamas this weekend. So I certainly wanted to highlight that. Okay, let's clear these off. There we go. And then let me just zoom out and show you again that those are the areas that I'll be closely monitoring. Obviously, we don't have a ton of rain in the forecast over the Leeward Islands. I've mentioned right now what's going to be happening in the Dominican Republic. And again, we could see some decent rainfall totals here. Interior sides of the Dominican Republic, even Santo Domingo, over an inch of rain. Santiago de los Caballeros, 1 to 2 there. So nice little bullseyes of rain. I mentioned Jamaica, isolated heavier rain in very limited spots. But again, not a lot of rain over the next 5 days there. There's not one other area that I'll be really watching here. Notice that the heaviest storms with this are going to be staying to the north of the Yucatan. Now, there's more rain down the road, and the next piece of this is tracking the storms and the winds out of the Turks and Caicos and then farther south and east as we get into next week. And of course, we'll be doing that coming up in subsequent videos. Remember, friends, outside of these forecast videos, we're live here at Meteo Mundo 24/7 on YouTube. If you go to the live tab, you want to check in with our live Caribbean radar, live satellite data, live temperatures. Find us there live. We're also across a lot of social media platforms as well. We're on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. Send me a picture or video at mymeteomundo@gmail.com. You got a specific question about the forecast, drop in the comments section below. I'm happy to answer that. And of course, thank you again for liking. Thank you for becoming a subscriber here at Meteo Mundo. If you want these forecasts across the Caribbean and the Bahamas, have a great rest of your day. I'll keep you updated, and I'll see you soon right here at Meteo Mundo.